You ever wake up one morning and realize that the person sleeping next to you stopped being on your side a long time ago? My name's Ethan Walker, I'm 34 years old, and this is the story of the weekend my life fell apart, and somehow came back together. I didn't see it coming. I thought I was building a future. But what I was really doing was giving away pieces of myself to someone who didn't even want them. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, a small mountain city where everybody knows somebody. I work in construction management, own a small 2-bedroom house I remodeled myself, and for the last 2 years, I shared it with a woman named Melissa. She was everything I thought I wanted: sharp, beautiful, independent, full of life. We met at a brewery downtown on a Friday night, hit it off immediately, and within 6 months, she'd basically moved in. At first, it was fun. She'd dance around the kitchen barefoot while I grilled outside. She made the house feel alive. But somewhere along the line, that laughter turned into something colder. Melissa started staying out later. I'd text, "You okay?" She'd reply hours later with, "Chill, I'm out with friends." When I'd ask who, she'd say, "You don't need to know everything I do." Those words hit hard, because that's what you say to someone you're keeping at a distance, not the man you live with. Still, I told myself it was just stress, that we'd figure it out. Then came the weekend that changed everything. It was a Friday morning in early June. I was making coffee when Melissa walked out of the bedroom, tossing clothes into a small suitcase. I said, "Hey, going somewhere?" She didn't even look up. "Yeah. Girls' trip to Charleston." "I told you." I blinked. "No, you didn't." She shrugged. "Well, I'm telling you now. I need some space, Ethan. Don't make this a thing." I felt my chest tighten. Space. What's that supposed to mean? She sighed, looked at me like I was the problem, and said, "Ethan, we're not married. You don't get to tell me what to do or where to go. You've got to stop acting like this house makes you my boss." Then she zipped her bag, grabbed her keys, and walked out. No goodbye. No hug. Just the sound of the front door clicking shut. I stood there in silence for a long time. The words echoed in my head. "We're not married. You don't get to tell me what to do." She was right, in a way. But man, it hurt. Not because I wanted to control her, but because I thought we were a team. And suddenly, she made it crystal clear. We weren't. I spent that whole day thinking about what she said. Every part of me wanted to fight back, call her, argue. But instead, something in me just shut off. And for the first time in months, I stopped reacting and started thinking. That house had been mine before she ever showed up. Every inch of it had my sweat in it, the floors I refinished, the deck I built with my dad. But lately, I'd been living in it like a guest. She picked the furniture. She changed the paint. She turned my space into something I didn't even recognize. And suddenly, I realized, if she didn't see this as our home, then why was I pretending it was? So I made a decision. I called up my next-door neighbor, Mrs. Caldwell. She's 71, bakes pies like it's her job, and doesn't miss a thing that happens on our street. She picked up the phone and said, "Ethan, you sound like a man about to do something bold." I said, "Mrs. C, I think I'm about to reclaim my life." She just laughed and said, "I'll bring the boxes." By noon, we were knee-deep in cardboard. Mrs. Caldwell was labeling boxes like she was running an army operation. Every candle, every framed quote about self-love, every yoga mat, gone. It wasn't out of anger. It was clarity. I packed her things carefully, stacked the boxes in the garage, and called a storage company to pick them up the next morning. By evening, the house felt empty, but not lonely. It felt like mine again. I moved my old leather recliner back into the living room, hung my fishing rods on the wall, even dug out my old dartboard from the attic. Then, because I'd always wanted a dog, I drove down to the local shelter. That's where I met Cooper, a golden retriever with a face that said, "I've been waiting for you." When the lady asked if I had room for him, I smiled and said, "Yeah, I've got plenty of space now." By Saturday night, Cooper and I were sitting on the deck, watching the sunset over the Blue Ridge Mountains. He had his head on my lap, the air smelled like summer rain, and for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. No fights. No tension. Just quiet. The next evening, I heard a car pull into the driveway. Melissa stepped out, sunglasses on, suitcase in hand, phone pressed to her ear. She tried the door, locked. Knocked twice. "Ethan." "What the hell?" I opened the door just enough to see her face. Her expression flipped from confident to confused. "Why's the lock changed?" she asked. I said calmly, "You said we're not married, and I don't get a say in your life. So I figured I'd start living mine." Her eyes darted past me into the house, the recliner, the dartboard, Cooper wagging his tail by my leg. "Where's my stuff?" "In storage," I said, handing her a small envelope. "Here's the unit key. I covered the first month." Her jaw dropped. "You're unbelievable." I nodded. "Yeah, I finally am." She cursed under her breath, grabbed the key, and stomped off to her car. Before she left, she yelled, "Everyone's gonna know what kind of man you are." I didn't answer. Didn't need to. Because for once, her words didn't define me. The next day, my phone started lighting up. Mutual friends were tagging me in a Facebook post. Melissa had written a long paragraph about how I kicked her out with nowhere to go, calling me controlling, heartless, and emotionally unavailable. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because 2 months ago that would have wrecked me. Instead, I posted one simple photo. Me, Cooper, and the living room. The caption read, "When someone tells you you're not part of their life, believe them. Then build one you can be proud of." Within hours, people started commenting. "Good for you. Proud of you, man." Even a few of her friends liked it. That was the first time I realized, peace speaks louder than revenge ever could. A week later, I took Cooper out to Lake Lure. We sat by the water, the sun setting low, cicadas humming in the distance. I thought about how much I'd changed in just a few days. I didn't feel bitter. Didn't feel broken. Just free. I remembered something my dad used to say. "Son, when someone shows you they don't want to stand beside you, stop chasing them. You can't build a life with someone who doesn't want to live in it." He was right. I spent 2 years trying to prove I was worthy of a love that was never mine to begin with. You know what's crazy? I still care about Melissa. I don't hate her. I just understand her now. She needed to feel independent. And I needed to stop defining myself by whether or not she stayed. The truth is, not everyone who walks into your life is meant to stay. Some people are just mirrors. They show you who you've become and who you still need to be. Now, every Sunday evening, I sit out on that same deck with Cooper. The world slows down. The stars come out. And I think about how quiet can be the loudest kind of peace. That weekend, she left thinking she was finding herself. Turns out, I was the one who did. So if you're watching this, and you've been in that place where someone makes you feel like a guest in your own life, take it from me. You don't have to yell. You don't have to beg. Just act. Reclaim your space. Reclaim your peace. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is let them walk out that door and never open it the same way again. Life doesn't always hand you closure. Sometimes it hands you keys to a new beginning. And when it does, you take your power back.